Hi. I just saw the funniest thing. Well, maybe it's not, I don't know. But I was looking at Got That Punk's channel, and he has annual Madness Mayhem and Charity. And, you know, like when the charity for MSN, Doctors Without Borders comes up all the time, and you see all these names shoot across the screen. It's like, well, let me get to one thing first. Before I ask, well, no, let me ask the question, but why do we need medical charity? Uh, Now, let me reiterate on that. Reiterate? Let me pull those $5 words out, figure out what the heck I'm talking about. Reiterate in a minute. But I just had to share one thing. Yes, my mind works in evil and devious ways. Because I almost kind of felt laughing when I'm seeing all these big names, and some of them controversial, Steve Jobs. I just did show school, but, that's interesting. A lot of big names, right? You know, nevertheless, you don't see freaking AIU or Margaret O'Connor or anything. No, none of that. You know, but at freaking 28-second mark, freaking here comes Grace and his cat. and, and the first thing my mind goes, ding! Oh, it's Grace and his cat, huh? Oh, what's the first thing he says? Hmm? Hello, sodomites! What? Hello. Yeah, okay, maybe it's not that funny, but I, I don't know. It just someone might say medical research is political. It's like, well, I got me thinking about it though from my warped mind. That why should any medical have a charity or a special interest? From my perspective, and my perspective, like I've always said, is even though socially, I'm a cultural libertarian, anti-STW. Well, maybe even more than anti-STW because anti-STWs tend to go in and out of freaking political correctness. At least from what I've seen on people of left of right, as Philip Roth said, True said. My views tend to be consistently right of center, more or less, on social issues. On economic issues, though, uh, as a post-scarcity futurist. Well, when I say post-scarcity, that's always a misnomer because, well, it depends on the person who's the futurist or the post-scarcity advocate. But I always mean near post-scarcity. A more accurate term would be minimum possible scarcity futurist for all economic ranges. Although I denounce wealth avocation. Well, how could you denounce it and actually freaking be a main aspect of supporting it? I'm a non-socialist. But I haven't quite worked that part out yet. I haven't quite figured out how you be for a main advocate of wealth avocation and not be socialistic. Uh, like saying, what's the difference between a socialist and a Democrat? Well, even more so, what's the difference between a socialist and a freaking post-scarcity futurist? Ah! You know, I don't know. But I am. So I know I'm not a socialist, or at least a Marxist. Well, in any case, I'm anti-SJW, which makes me consistently right of center about things like race, gender, sexuality. And, well, as an atheist, I'm very anti-theist, but being a cultural libertarian, which is a social conservative, to be honest, I'm more, as much as when it comes to culture and not science, I tend to be pro-Christian, uh, pro-Israel, anti, well, I go back and forth about the Jewish, that freaking, I don't know if I'm pro-Jewish or anti-Jewish, take your pick on that one. That's so conservative. And I don't really care, to be honest. You know, anti uh, anti-Semitic depends on the freaking scenario. You know, most of my politics, except politics of race itself, isn't race based. All I could get off on is I tangent about race and biology. I don't know. I say uh, try to keep science pure as possible, if that's even possible. But because as not authoritarian, the libertarian, at least a cultural libertarian, I'm completely and consistently, more or less, mostly more anti-state. I want minimal government. I don't. When most people go, oh, human resources and anti-discrimination is a good thing. I'm like, no, not a good be, but minimally. I don't care if the guy chasing the secretary around the desk, he hires his white friend, and the janitorial staff is mostly Hispanic, and the gay guy freaking just handles the freaking plants. I mean, I don't care. Well, I do care because, well, you don't want no social justice, but ideally, at least in my case, I would. I think that there's a false negative in any application of social justice that's enforced on culture. If it all cannot be helped, it's a completely bad thing. Liberty chooses to be free, and well, it's kind of like I have an idea about social capital, what others have about physical capital. So, and I know I'm pretty straight off the subject, but I'm not, and it's very important. I believe in free marketplace of ideas. Good ideas float, bad ideas sink. But everybody's got their finger on the scale, up or down, one way or the other, and side to side too. We're all pushing the boulder up the mountain. So I'm left to wonder why, well, about social justice at all, because I oppose it. I don't know, maybe I'm just a friggin' sexist, racist, bigoted, friggin' liberal. You know, if you talk about that too. But then there's real facts out there, and I oppose any authoritarianism that doesn't promote a dynamic cultural society. Economically, I have a problem with wealth redistribution. Even being post-futurist, because I want that dynamic society. And that brings me back to, yes, at the 9-minute mark, you guessed it, social charities. And that's why when I hear, maybe I'm really naive or I haven't looked at facts, but maybe I'm just looking at things in an idealistic way. But I believe, as a post-scarcity futurist, the three things I believe in, maybe four now, is a living wage, human first. You don't just bring kiosks everywhere. You actually have a human friggin', uh, at a friggin' helm somewhere, at least to help you. Employ as many people as possible. At least to keep the money going or a safeguard. Set the conditions where humans shouldn't be working. Like menial or something machines can better. Humans, um, when it's dangerous. But when it's not dangerous, I want to talk to a human being. I've been meaning to make that video too. You know, but not to get off on that subject. But the first thing is bringing a living wage to not be denounced by cheaper kiosk machines. That's the one thing I believe in. Well, that's one in subsection B. Two is affordable housing. How we could change things to have different sized housings. Like, I don't know, Japanese have little sleeper drawers. You know, you can have cheap hotels. It just seems like with multiculturalism, you don't have an agreed upon culture to build a consensus for social wealth or a way to make things better in an agreed upon way. Uh, you know, little sleeper drawers for the homeless or the near homeless would not work in America. The Japanese, they're very uniform. Just an example. They go in, they get in a little door, they play in a little door, they sleep. They don't lounge around the freak thing. They don't hang out the drawer. They don't bring a hooker in, with a freaking, door over the freaking slide out bed. They don't do a lot of things, excuse me, that, wouldn't make it work in America or we could tolerate as a society. They have uh, a unique cultural view for good and bad. And that's one problem I have with multiculturalism. So, the three things I believe in as a post-scarcity futurist is living wage, affordable housing, and the right of every citizen of universal health care. How far you go in complete health care? Do you give friggin' homeless people friggin' massages? You count friggin' uh, sexual surrogacy? Medical or need for prescription recreational drugs? Sex, drugs, rock and roll, all on a medical bill. Yay! I'm up. I want that plan. Of course, it sounds funny, but how far to go in universal care? It's not a medical need, but a social need. And I've been to county clinics. Let me tell you, they're a mess. And when I got sick, I got SSI. Before I got SSI, I got big house. I went to the hospital. The medical plan I'm on is just as bad. Oh, and after the hospital, I was in convalescent care for a while, and I've seen convalescent care when I visited my great grandmother, when I visited my mother, or my grandmother, my other grandmother, my mother, my father. Is that what you do? To fight for freaking to live to get older? Only be rewarded by having your house taken away and freaking all your income garnished and anything you wish to inherit freaking garnished and being put in these goddamn freaking old age camps? I've seen it all. But charity for freaking people who freaking don't really care. Okay, here I'm talking about don't care about their health. What's next? Fat camps for freaking employment. Once we go down the dangerous road of freaking start pointing fingers at who doesn't care about their health, well, I'm guilty. I'm bad turd and freaking bad health because of it. I didn't have to do all the drugs when I was younger. A personal responsibility for your own ship. And if you steer your ship on rocks, is it someone else's responsibility to freaking take care of you? And that brings back the whole social issue too. Hey, sodomites! How'd you wreck your ship? And it's like, and the whole issue with charity for AIDS. I want an AIDS cure. I want universal health care. But what are the priorities? Do we need medical charities for anything specific? When the whole system needs total revision, how far do we go? So I don't see a reason for a charity. I don't know. Do you? I'm not sure. That's the question.